Yes, can I help you?
The bustling streets and alleyways of Seed Hollow were steeped in an unusual silence. Rumors of the phantom sightings had spread, and the citizens became too fearful to leave their homes. We were still missing a part of the picture, but what was it?
I'm sure it was just someone's minds playing tricks on them.
Poor Lyria. I needed to wrap up this investigation as quickly as possible. However, despite our comprehensive search of the castle, nothing stood out as unordinary. We'll have to come back another day. Just then, I noticed a faint movement in the corner of my eye. Wait, it couldn't be.
Huh? What are these guys doing here? We already took care of Granblue.
Ominous forms. Foul creatures born from the primal beast Granblue. Surely they weren't the cause of the sightings, were they? I had my doubts, but this was no time for questions. The castle was in dire need of some pruning. Such hostility. It seems we've no choice but to fight.
You sure these are the ghosts we're looking for? Something about this place gives me the willies.
We'll uncover the truth soon, so hang in there, okay? This place will need more than a restoration if we don't do something about this. You want more, don't. Do forgive me.
These still ain't letting up! Stay sharp, guys!
Conjure! Full bloom! Looks like it's clear for now. Shall we?
Did you see that?
Interesting. He supposedly disappears if you attempt to get close. But perhaps that wasn't the entire truth. Our job's not finished yet. Shall we? They've infested the entire courtyard. Who's ready for a pruning? Fighting up close won't do us good here.
Sounds to me like it's time for a ranged battle. That's right up your alley, isn't it?
Not today.
Shall we conclude? Beautiful.
I don't think you can take much more.
Did you miss me? How beautiful.
They hunt them underground.
Take my
Can't
sword.
lose track of them.
What do you think? Come and get it. Welcome to my moor. There's such a thing as being too popular, you know? Quite a tenacious bunch, aren't they? Question is, where are they coming from? There now. Time for you to
Still
go.
more of them? Get a clue already.
You want
Like what
more,
it is.
don't you?
Healing wind.
That should be the last of them.
Huh. And stay out.
Wait a second. What is that? What's this? A crystal fragment. I took a closer look. Within its faded luster was a familiar green aura. But where had I seen it before?
Hold up a second. Doesn't that remind you of those hallowed ground spots?
Vern was right. Its glow was nearly identical to the crystals found on hallowed grounds. Their unique aura kept monsters at bay, providing travelers with safe haven. Did this shard come from one?
It's faint, but Excavalian's aura. I can feel it coming from inside.
That couldn't be. I focused on the crystal splinter in hand, and indeed, there was the presence of a familiar primal. Excavalian was the primal beast of Dolly Island, much farther than a stone's throw from here. So why were we able to feel its presence all the way in Seed Hollow?
It's not the only one. I think I can feel another primal beast here too.
Another primal? How could that be possible? A phantom girl, Excavalian, ominous forms, and now another primal beast. None of it made any sense. As we unraveled more of the castle's secrets, it became clear that we had barely scratched the surface of its walls.
Yes, can I help you?
We were back at square one. In hopes of finding some new leads, we split up and interviewed every Seed Hollow local we could find. Despite our efforts, we found little new information. Zothba and his connections, on the other hand, proved invaluable once more as they unearthed a new clue. The girl wore a crown of flowers. I froze in place. I knew this primal. In fact, I learned of her on my first visit to Zega Grande. Konohana Sakuya, was it? Yes. An ethereal girl bearing a floral crown? It had to be her. Her presence would explain why Lyria sensed a primal beast in addition to Excavalian. She was pact-bound to Ulmarine Island, and she held domain over blossoming flowers. The unusually vibrant bouquets blooming across Seed Hollow just added more proof of her proximity. With the culprit identified, only one problem remained. Me. After what Sakuya and I went through, I doubt she would ever show herself around me again. Unfortunately, simply knowing the identity of the girl would not solve the problem of her many phantom appearances.
So, is this Kahuna Yakuza? You think she's the one causing the monsters to come out?
Unlikely. I've never met her in person, but I don't think she and the ominous forms are connected in the slightest.
Yo, got some new intel on the girl. You're still working the case, right?
The family Zothba had been continuing to search for clues in the background, and thankfully, their search bore fruit. In one of the areas where the ghostly girl was sighted, a bystander had found an ancient book.
Broke my brain trying to read the dumb thing, but you're smart and pretty smart and, well, yeah.
Oh, poor boy couldn't even get his words straight. Thank you. You're quite the gentleman.
No, I'm not. I'm a badass. Anyway, I should get going.
He had barely placed the book in my hands before scurrying off. What had gotten into him, I wonder? I opened the book and peered through the rune-like characters inside. No normal person would be able to decipher this.
Oh, that looks really complicated.
Really? Let me see.
When Vern approached the book, Roland's transceiver began to glow. It illuminated the text, somehow morphing the illegible script into something readable. My breath caught in my chest. Had an astral authored this book? Unfortunately, simply knowing the identity of the girl would not solve the problem of her many phantom appearances.
So, is this, Kahuna Yakuza? You think she's the one causing the monsters to come out?
Unlikely. I've never met her in person, but I don't think she and the ominous forms are connected in the slightest.
Yo, got some new intel on the girl. You're still, working the case, right?
The family Zafba had been continuing to search for clues in the background, and thankfully, their search bore fruit. In one of the areas where the ghostly girl was sighted, a bystander had found an ancient book.
Broke my brain trying to read the dumb thing, but you're smart and pretty smart and, well, yeah.
Oh, poor boy couldn't even get his words straight. Thank you. You're quite the gentleman.
No, I'm not. I'm a badass. Anyway, I should get going.
He had barely placed the book in my hands before scurrying off. What had gotten into him, I wonder? I opened the book and peered through the rune-like characters inside. No normal person would be able to decipher this.
Oh, that looks really complicated.
Really? Let me see.
When Vern approached the book, Roland's transceiver began to glow. It illuminated the text, somehow morphing the illegible script into something readable. My breath caught in my chest. Had an astral authored this book? The text seemed to be a log from an experiment of sorts. Although it was barely legible, I tried to grasp its meaning. Originally, it was Excavalion, primal beast of fortification, who forged a pact with Almarine Island. Although it's unclear why, Excavalion would eventually migrate to Dali, leaving Konohana Sakuya to take its place on Almarine. That was all I could make out of the texts. With this new information, I needed to re-examine the facts. First, the stage. Almarine Island, home to Seed Hollow and its citizens, once protected by Excavalion. Next, a curious switch. Konohana Sakuya takes its place as the island's pact-bound primal. Now, our present mysteries. A crystal shard replete with Excavation's aura. On Graminu's altar beneath the castle, the ominous forms. And finally, Konohana Sakuya's curious reappearance. Think, Rosetta. Was the shard left behind by Excavalion? Did it serve a purpose in protecting the island? It was possible that Avia's invasion of Seed Hollow destroyed this mechanism, causing the primal to reveal herself in defense.
Now that I think about it, the ghost rumors started to pop up only after that crystal beneath the castle was destroyed.
So, it was all connected. There's no time to explain, but more ominous forms will appear if we don't repair this island's defense system. Where could we find another fortifying crystal?
How about Dolly? That's where Excavalion lives now, right? Maybe it's got a spare lying around.
Indeed. If we were to find a solution to our problems, it would be buried beneath those churning sands. If I'm not mistaken, we should come across a guardian crystal not too far from here. Let's take a look around those hills. Do you remember where we fought that griffin? Oh, oops. Didn't mean to wake you. Mind letting us pass through? You want more, don't you? Welcome to my garden. Not quite the crystal we're looking for. A wild monster's den. I'd like to avoid needless bloodshed if possible. Shall we? Come and get it.
Duh, that ain't it.
Excavalion. It's faint, but I can feel it.
Did we find it?
A cobra! It must have been waiting to strike!
It seems words won't work here. Get ready, everyone. Careful. Don't let it strike you with venom. You want more, don't you? There now. Beautiful, aren't they? Now then, where were we?
Watch yourself.
You shouldn't have.
Wow, we did it! Let's take this crystal back to Seed Hollow.
Shortly after securing a crystal from Dolly, we returned to Seed Hollow Castle. We installed the new crystal beneath the castle, causing a pale green light to illuminate the area. It was the familiar aura of hallowed ground, sure to repel any lingering ominous forms.
It's too bad we couldn't meet her. Konohana Sakuya.
The mystery had been solved on nearly all fronts. I'd be lying if I said I was completely satisfied, however. After all was said and done, I still didn't get the opportunity to clear the air with her. Peace returned to Seed Hollow, and it was soon back to the usual hustle and bustle. I informed the frightened repairman of the girl's true identity, the primeval god of Seed Hollow.
A primeval god? Holy macaroni! That's a spicy nugget of news. How do you manage to stay so charming and informed? Hmm?
A lady never reveals her secrets.
It's a little sad that you couldn't meet Konohana Sakuya. I know you wanted to apologize to her.
I knew, somewhere deep down, that talking with her wouldn't bring back all the journeys I had with the captain's father. However, seeing all the blooming flowers across the city, it almost felt as if she was acknowledging me anyway. I may well have imagined it, but call it something of a mutual understanding between distant sisters. After the vibrant patchwork of spring began to spread throughout Seed Hollow, I made a habit of taking a daily stroll around the city. On one of my walks, I had mindlessly put the crystal fragment in my dress. After arriving at a particularly sunny spot, I took it out to admire it. Something about it was different today. Instead of my usual reflection, if not only for a brief second, I saw a smile that wasn't my own. A girl in a flower crown. Our eyes met for a second before, pop! A single rose had materialized at my feet. When I looked back into the fragment, she was nowhere to be seen. Although I can't prove it, I know that she was here, listening to me. So I whispered, "Beautiful. This city has blossomed under your care, all while blooming in your own right. You deserve to be here."
Hans took me to Grossgard. As an artist's soul is mirrored in their brushstrokes, so too is a lord's character reflected in the state of their dominion. Everywhere, you could see Ludwin's gentle touch. From the full fields, to the content faces of the farmers, to the laughter of children and adult alike that filled the air.
What do you think of our humble land?
I tore my eyes away from the bright orchards and turned to Hans. It's beautiful. It may not be large or bustling, but I've never been to such a peaceful dukedom.
I'm sure his lordship will be pleased to hear that assessment.
Suddenly, I found myself curious. Earlier, you said that the ancestral trials would teach Ludwin how to rule. But judging from what I've seen here, he is already a capable lord. What more would you like him to learn? Hans smiled tenderly, as a grandfather might when speaking of a beloved grandchild.
I should have known an avid scholar like yourself would read between the lines. Make no mistake, Ludwin is not a perfect leader yet, but it is not my place to discuss his flaws.
Then tell me this. Are his flaws related to his family's inability to fight?
Let us call it a starting thread, but the full tapestry is so much more.
I decided not to pry. I already had the information I needed to guide Ludwin through his trial.
Sir Lancelot? I don't remember sending for you.
Of course, the Lord was surprised to see me. Although friendly, I was a rogue element in a world where this man had control of nearly everything. I have come at the request of Hans. He would like me to assist you in deciphering the tome.
I see. Hans does have a knack for meddling in his lord's affairs, but I welcome you all the same because, to tell the truth, I'm getting absolutely nowhere.
I smiled, despite myself. It was nice to meet a noble who wasn't spilling over with pride. Hans beckoned me to his desk, and I leaned over the old tome.
What do you make of it? This must be child's play for a famed warrior scholar.
He looked at me with expectant eyes. I'm sorry, but I can't decipher this. We will need to enlist the help of an expert. Expectation turned to astonishment.
Lancelot, though you fight like a storm, your mind is as clear as the stillest of ponds. I can't believe you'd need to ask for assistance.
Can't you? Every second I spend on the battlefield is a second away from the library. Ludwin hesitated a while longer, but when I strode to the door and held it open for him, he sighed and relented. No one in either of our circles was well versed in ciphers, but that was a matter of small concern. I knew an information broker. Zothba put me in touch with a language scholar who delivered a key to us within a fortnight.
Well, I'll be. The clue was in the names of my ancestors.
Ludwin stood up behind his desk and stretched, and the lines of care and worry melted from his face. He must have had many sleepless nights poring over the withered pages of the tome alone.
Thank you, Sir Lancelot. I can finally read the damn thing. It's only a matter of time now until I find the sword.
It was my pleasure. I look forward to news of your success. But I already knew. Before the unearthing of the blade, Hans would come to visit me one last time. I was half right. It was not Hans, but Ludwin himself who showed up at our doorstep.
I deciphered the record, and I know where the sword is buried.
He was so excited he completely forwent pleasantries.
I know I should go alone, with Hans of course, but the tome says we must fly to Skyworm Valley, which is riddled with monsters. It's a terrible place for a lord to be made into dragon kibble.
I knew what he wanted me to say. Very well. Please, allow me to accompany you.
Really? Wonderful! I mean, only if you wish.
This must have been the flaw Hans was alluding to. Ludwin was afraid of his own power. He dreaded the responsibilities that came with leadership. The lords of Grossgard were not warriors and hadn't been for generations. They depended on their subjects for protection, but as I'd learned, Ludwin was loath to do so. Up until now, this has not posed a problem. Small skirmishes were all that troubled the peace of his dukedom. But what would happen should a great war march on his borders? Would his honor eventually spur him to the front lines? To death? The place of a lord and general is with the rear guard. There, they must order the battle and conduct diplomatic affairs. But it is hard, sitting and conversing in safety while your soldiers are risking their lives. As captain of the White Dragons, I knew this better than anyone. You feel as if every death is on your head. At last, I had come to fully understand Ludwin. If these trials, as Hans said, could help him come into his own, then I would do everything in my power to guide him to victory. The day arrived. Ludwin, Hans, myself, and a few more compatriots met outside of Skyworm Valley.
Lancelot, thank you for coming, but I wasn't aware there would be others with you. Who are these people?
He looked with wide eyes at the rest of the crew, whom he had never met before. I have heard terrible monsters lurk in these parts. Alone, I would not have been able to guarantee your safety. These are my crewmates, each one a warrior of great strength and honor.
Not that I don't appreciate their presence, but Sir Lancelot, surely a knight of your caliber could cut through these beasts with both hands tied behind your back.
Chance, my lord, is as unpredictable as the weather. A wise skyfarer prays for a gentle current, but prepares for a vicious storm. Ludwin nodded thoughtfully.
Very well. Best I leave the knighting to the knights.
We go into the Viper's Nest. Take care. Are you ready to begin the trial?
It's now or never. Let go.
Hey, look! The welcome squad!
Our attacks aren't working! Is this part of the trial?
Wait, I remember. The record said, a single link does not a chain make.
So, fighting one at a time won't work? Let's hit it all at once.
Very well. On Lancelot's mark.
Southern Cross! They're wide open! Yeah!
Into the fray!
You're a fierce ally.
Very
Clever, Vane.
Take Greek on the clever. Silence. If not for Lord Ludwin's counsel, you would have been lost.
You did it! You really did it!
Who do you
I
think
only
you
wish
are?
I'd have been of more
Focus
use.
on the
Don't
dangers ahead.
worry about it. We've all got stuff we're good and bad at.
There is no shame in seeking help from others. It builds trust.
Yes, trust. That is all we ask from you, Lord Ludwin.
Looks like we've reached the second trial. There are so many spirits around.
We'd best fight in formation. This may be similar to the previous trial.
Very well. Leave the vanguard to me.
Go team! We're gonna be so in sync.
Wait. I'm about to see 4 legendary knights in battle at once. Keepers to behold!
Have you gotten faster? Do not underestimate me.
These blind attacks aren't working. We need to coordinate.
Allow me. Stay clear of my flame.
Come now. We're old brothers in arms. Into the fray!
Bury them!
Your aid is always appreciated.
You have my support now
Wait.
and forevermore.
Fall! These blind attacks aren't working. We need to coordinate. There is no honor greater than fighting by your side.
The feeling is mutual.
Surrender! Too slow. Strike at once!
That does it for the second trial.
Well done.
Too easy, Lancelot?
Not at all. We've only made smooth progress thanks to the team.
We fought alongside each other for years. This was nothing.
What is that thing? It's huge!
Jarison is a dead soul given form by evil spirits.
Dead? Whoever signed up to fight the dead! Retreat! Everyone! Retreat!
Remain calm. We can handle this.
Can't know that for sure. Stars absorb if anything were to happen to you because of my weakness.
My Lord Ludwin, ask that you listen to Lancelot. Place your trust in us.
We're Cold Dream Team! A kick-butt quartet! Rock that place!
Blue detonation! Great job.
Agreed.
Give me. Stay focused. Parry this.
Now we've made them live. Look out!
Keep your eyes trained on them.
Very well. Lancelot believes believed in this team, and so shall I.
Save your worry.
On me! For the sky! You fool!
Tide is with
You speak the truth.
Ready. Brave away.
Stay focused. For form. On go. Cross. Away with
Well done, Nancy.
You have my aim.
Well executed, everyone.
Whacked and ventured is a thing of beauty.
Free. No escape. I'll take it from here. Stay focused.
A blessing from your lord.
Stay focused. On go. Stay vigilant.
I can't get up close and personal with him? You should never mess with us!
Landing right here. Honor will prevail. Victory.
Force the finger. First of all,
Guilty. For glory. Absolute zero. Great job. Stay focused.
You took down all those monsters. That was blind.
Well, the chest awaits you, my lord. Open it and claim your prize.
Ah, yes, of course.
After this, it's back to training. After numerous trials, we arrived at last in front of a lone treasure chest.
If it hadn't been for your help, Sir Lancelot, I wouldn't have made it this far. I fear I won't ever be able to repay this debt.
There is no debt between us. But do not trouble yourself about me. Look now to your prize. With trembling hands, Ludwin undid the clasps of the chest and lifted from it a sheathed sword.
The blade of my forebears. It's, lighter than I thought it would be.
Carefully, he drew forth the weapon.
What's the meaning of this? It's just a hilt!
Ludwin was the very picture of distress. But I saw through the riddle at once. A sword with no blade, a weapon that could neither defend nor slay. It was a message left by the first lords of Grosgard for their scions. Gently, I cleared my throat. Perhaps, my lord, it was meant to be a hilt, and a hilt alone.
What? Why would my ancestors bequeath unto me a hunk of metal?
You will find the answer to this puzzle, as you have to all the others. Slowly, Ludwin's grip on the blade relaxed, and he began to turn it over in his hands.
Fine. I'll give it a bit more thought.
Sir Lancelot, do you really think his lordship will be able to figure it out?
On our way back, Hans fell in beside me to take whispered counsel. What does your heart tell you? You have been at his side all these years. Hans made no reply, but I saw the shadow pass from his face and a soft light come into his eyes.
Can I help you?
The third day after we had returned, Ludwin came calling.
I've got it! The meaning behind our family heirloom!
With great reverence, he laid his hand on the hilt, which was sheathed at his hip.
At last, the pieces of the puzzle are gathered and the picture is whole. The tome in the mountains, the message in code, the chest guarded by monsters, and the sword without a blade.
Ludwin laughed dryly.
Sir Lancelot, I love this land, passed down to me by my forebears. I love its gentle rills, its rolling hills, its honest laborers, and its noble warriors. I would do anything to keep them from harm.
But he could not fight his own battles. He spoke of one such conflict that occurred within his dukedom. He was forced to flee to safer grounds, while the blood of his people mingled with the dirt. The guilt ever gnawed at him, robbing him of his happiness and repose. In the midst of his troubles, Hans told him of a legendary blade. The young lord grew convinced that this sword would bestow upon him the strength he needed to protect his own.
I wanted to be everything for my people. A great warrior like you, and also a wise general and a benevolent lord. But now I see that one person does not make a country. I am the hilt which guides the sword.
And the people are the blade, which are its strength, leader and follower. One is lost without the other. Emotion stirred within me, and I drew a trembling breath. My lord, we are more alike than you think. There was a time when I blamed myself every time I lost a knight. I tried to shoulder the burdens of my kingdom alone, thinking I was protecting everyone. But I was wrong, for my fall would have meant the ruin of all. Ludwin nodded.
You're right. I'm done tearing myself into pieces, trying to play 100 roles at once. My people are counting on me to guide them, and so I shall, with this sword.
He drew the hilt from its sheath. Look to your own duties, and trust your comrades to fulfill theirs. That is all we can do.
I won't ever forget this lesson, Sir Lancelot. I swear upon my ancestors that from this hour henceforth I shall dedicate myself to becoming the fair and wise lord that Grosgard deserves.
The clouds of doubt were gone from Ludwin's eyes. He had found his path at last. And I had been reminded of something important. It was true that leadership and responsibility acted as shackles, but they were also anchors, providing safety and stability on a sea of uncertainty. Months later, word reached me concerning a Lord Ludwin of Grosgard. It was said he had no great strength of arms, but his wit and will were edged sharper than steel. Under his rule, the people lived in peace, and their fields were ever gold. But the young lord never accepted praise for his deeds. He always spoke of the loyalty of his subjects and the wisdom of a foreign knight. It seems his idolatry of me still hasn't changed. But as Ludwin has grown into his title, perhaps I too should learn to bear my mantle with pride. I am Lancelot, captain of the White Dragons, and son of Fiendrock.
It didn't take long for Noobs and the rest of the Tykes to become fast friends. Oh, that's the nickname they gave to the boy from Tempeal, by the way. Noobs. Within weeks, Noobs had transformed into one of the brightest and most active kids in the city. But he'd had a reason to be sad. Turned out, Noobs had lost his parents in the Tempeal incident. He'd moved to Folka after being adopted by relatives. Poor kid deserves some sweetness in his life, after all that bitterness. I did what I could for him, bringing my best creations to the Blue Sky hideout. Today's special was one of Lancey's favorites, Vane's Paradise Pudding. Smooth, creamy, and so very rich. The sugar had apparently put the kids in a talkative mood. They'd barely gotten their spoons out of their mouths when they started competing for the title of Best Food Commentator. Eventually, this evolved into a debate on which Vane creation was the tastiest. Captain Skip claimed it was the cookies I'd given them the day we met, because they were seasoned with memories. Pretty poetic for a kid of like 7. I love those cookies too, though. They were a recipe from Grandma. Even Noobs was eager for a piece of the action. Warmed my heart to see the shy little guy come out of his shell. But you know how it is with this world. The skies are clearest right before the storm. My next visit to Folka, I could tell something was wrong as soon as I stepped foot in the city. All the adults stood huddled outside their homes, discussing, arguing. A few were weeping. Turns out, it was the Tykes. They had gone missing. The news hit me like an oncoming airship. I remembered how to breathe again. I rushed over to Ace, one Blue Sky Knight who'd stayed behind.
What do we do? What if they never come back?
I'll find them, I promise. But you need to tell me what happened. It started with Noobs. Still unused to the layout of Folka, he'd gotten lost in the woods. After about 6 hours, Skip put together a search team and went after him, without telling any adults. Now a full day had passed, and all 4, Noobs, Skip, Beats, and Fessa, still hadn't returned. The whole time he was talking, Ace was shaking from head to toe. I put both my hands on his shoulders and gave him the warmest smile I could muster. You did good, Ace. Now leave the rest to me. I went straight to the Grand Cipher. Needed to recruit as many eyes as I could get. Those kids were my friends, and the future of the skies. I wasn't going to let anything happen to them. Hold on, guys. I'm coming for you.
There have to be traps. Keep your eyes peeled.
This fruit, it's still fresh. They have to be near. They'll be fine. I know they will.
Out of my way! Now! A little backup? Nice! Very nice!
Whoever turned it down.
I taught them how to camouflage themselves in this grass. They probably head out for monsters around here.
You don't think the monsters have already gotten to them?
No, they're okay. They have to be. hasn't dried up yet. You have to be close.
I'm coming! Hey, pick on someone your own size.
Sir Chef!
You guys aren't hurt, right? Just wait a little longer. This will be over in a jiffy.
We're all going down! Gather up! I won't let them hurt you!
On the offensive!
Hey,
Got you covered. Nice.
yeah! Bring it on, bad guys! All mine!
More! The air crackling?
Yikes! You need a breather? Feel the storm!
Look at Sir Chef go! It's like he's a real knight!
Get shut in half!
Right one in here!
Bring it!
Well, do it.
Rapper, he's our man!
You could sound a little more enthused.
Oh, no, you don't! Never enough!
Blast them full of holes.
Piercing punishment! All mine! Leap and reach! Hey! Taste the axe! Go invasion! No mercy! Go! Feel!
Check this out!
Shine as one! Chronic flare!
No way! He won! Looks like the little squirts are doing just fine.
Yeah, I think I need a moment.
Thanks. You did good, Sir Chef.
Skip still had enough in him to put on a brave face. That was a good sign. As I checked the rest of the tykes for injuries, I could feel that familiar tingle in my tear ducts. But I held it in. Kids had gone through enough. Without a grown man showering them in snot. I'm so glad you pulled through. The Blue Sky Knights really are amazing. Captain Skip immediately lightened the mood by trying to fit his hands around my biceps.
Whoa! I had no idea you were so strong.
Fern, who'd been hovering nearby, crossed his paws.
You think those tree trunks are just for show? Vade's a trained knight, vice captain of the White Dragons.
The White Dragons? Wait, Sir Chef, you were an actual knight?
Oh no. The upturned eyes of betrayed innocence. The ultimate technique. I started to sweat. I mean, yes, technically, but I hadn't actually lied to them, but hiding the truth was just as bad. I steeled myself for the eruption, but it never came.
Wow, a real knight? You need to let me interrogate you for my notes later. No wonder you kick butt! Dude, awesome!
I should have known. Those kids would never turn on a friend.
Daddies ain't got nothing on you.
One more spell for the books! Now with a little more oomph! I'm getting the hang of this! Great! Oh, fun! That's nice! All right! That's nice! Oh, fun!
Got an order? What should I strengthen? I'll handle it. I'll handle it. I'll handle it. Good. I'll unlock it. Unlock! I'll handle it. How about that? I'll handle it. Always aim. Well, look at that. I'll unlock its hidden potential. Show me. Your weapons won't betray you.